Oh, what have I done? What have I done? What's going on, everyone? I think I hit the live button and then I clicked off of it. So hang on here. We're coming back. What is going on? How's everyone doing? I need the chat. Give me the chat. There it is. There it is. All right. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's almost like I've never done this before. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. As I feel like a newbie here, getting everything set. Bear with me. There we go. There we go. There's the chat. What is going on? Sam says Merry Christmas. Hello, everyone. Sam, Merry Christmas. This is the Christmas Eve edition of Wednesday Live here at Homebuilt Workshop. Scott's here. Scott says, good morning. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Scott. Sam says, live chat. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I always forget. Live chat. There it is. Bam. We are on live. Thank you for that, Sam. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Let's see here. Robert's here. Robert says, hello, people. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and warm. We are. We are staying mighty warm, actually. I don't even think I need this beanie right now. But we have had an unbelievably warm, well, the last couple of weeks, really, like pretty much most of December, except for a few days where we actually did have snow. It has been ridiculously warm. It was 2 days ago, or was it yesterday even? Might have been yesterday. We hit 70, 71 degrees. That's unreal. I'm going to knock this on the floor. It's unreal. I can't even imagine it. We're supposed to have near record, if not record temperatures tomorrow on Christmas. Like literally the 60s, upper 60s. It's crazy. Let's see. Time Surfing's here. It says happy holidays. Happy holidays, Time Surfing. Right on, right on. Thank you. Opie Ken says good morning, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Right on. How's everybody doing today? That's awesome. Right on. Yeah, so it's just been weird. It's weird here. It doesn't feel like it should be Christmas because the weather's been so nice. Yeah, it's just I've never seen such a thing. Obi Ken says 76 degrees in Denver yesterday. Killed the record. Wow. We had I swear it was yesterday, but it might have been the day before, 72 or 1 or somewhere around there. For sure 70 because I took a picture of the thermometer saying 70 degrees. I can't believe it. It's crazy. And I hear we're supposed to have maybe records tomorrow on Christmas. I don't understand. It's weird. I want snow if it's Christmas. Call me weird, but cheers, everyone. I did that backwards. I'm supposed to cheers and then take a drink, but Time Storm says, normal Christmas here, 70s. Yeah, that's wild. It's not normal here for sure. Now, don't get me wrong. I like this warm weather. It's nice. But there's a part of me that says it's Christmas. We should be cold, snowy, and all that stuff. So I don't know. I guess that's because I grew up in the Northeast. Robert says it's supposed to be 76 today, 75 tomorrow. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, I just hope everybody enjoys it. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And yeah, I hope you get to spend some time in your, maybe in the shop, friends, family, loved ones, all that sort of thing. What's everybody been working on? If you guys saw the video last weekend, or just a few days ago, I was working on this. I think I showed you last week. Made a few more changes to it, printed several more versions, and yeah, we're getting it fine-tuned. Still a couple more things that I think I might want to change. I've actually had a couple people ask if I could sell these pre-printed. So I'm kind of working on just kind of optimizing it. Ideally, a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, a lot of times when I'm, if I'm building something, I'll get it to where it works for what I need something to work for, and then I don't really update it a lot of times. But when someone else is, maybe going to, someone else might use it if I offer the bases for sale. Um, I tend to spend more time on there, as you should, right? And just kind of fine tune things. So I'm kind of working on some stuff, getting this fine tuned. I've already reprinted these. If you saw the video, I think it needs a little bit more weight. So I've already reprinted some of these with almost 100% infill, and it's a lot better, but I still feel like it could use a little bit more weight. So I've ordered some new filament, or some different filament that's a little bit denser, without getting into like the metal filled stuff. So I'm going to try reprinting this in a different filament. And then I've changed in the actual, or in the one in the video, I had 2 holes in the top because I thought maybe you'd want to switch it around. I don't really see a need for that. So I've removed that hole, and I'm going to put the threaded insert in the side with a brass thumb screw. I'm going to put it back to the side. In the video, I changed it because I had it on either side here. So I'm going to put it back on this long side with a brass thumb screw to give it yet more weight. And yeah, I might change the back here too, because I think this little loop deal here is made for mounting on different fixtures and things. But for this, I don't need that. So I might convert this, maybe 3D print another back for it, so that I can remove this weight, which would make it less top heavy. So just kind of optimizing things before I actually try to put some of these up on the website. But yeah, so far it's working really good, and it's been fun kind of working through the process. Let's see. Scott says, just finished some floating shelves around a wet bar. Took 2 years to finally get it and finish it. Right on. We'll see. You got it. At least you're getting it done. It's all good. Robert says, this winter is working out to be more of a dry fall instead of winter. Yes, it has. Going to be making some food dishes to take to my sister's tomorrow for Christmas. Nice. That's awesome. So I'm working on some of that too. Kind of in between playing with this. Well, today I'm not really going to be messing with this too much, but the last couple of days I've been on and off making some changes, 3D printing a new one, just kind of experimenting. I'm also working on filming the last video for this year, which hopefully will be out this weekend. If all goes well, I need to try to finish filming that today. And that's kind of my annual yearly wrap up, like where I go through and just list kind of my top 5 favorite projects. And I've got the list there. Started filming it yesterday. Need to get back and finish filming today. It's always kind of fun. I just enjoy, taking a few minutes, especially this time of year. We're all busy with things, for the holidays, and you don't always have time to spend, on a full-blown project. So it kind of works in really well to just kind of recap some of my favorite builds. And these aren't these are my top picks, like my favorites. They have nothing to do with, these are my best performing videos. These are the most viewed, the most comments, none of that. It's just, I scroll back through all the videos for the year, and I say, yeah, I really like that one. And I just picked the 5. So that's what I'm working on. That'll be for this weekend. And yeah, other than that, working on some, like Robert said, working on some food dishes that we're going to take to Christmas dinner tomorrow. So I get to, do some cooking, spend some time in the kitchen, which I kind of enjoy, actually. Sam says, have you ever seen a 5-necked guitar? I saw one online. Yes, I have, Sam. I think I talked about this. I know I've talked about this before. Growing up, there was a elderly guy that lived next to us, elderly at the time, when I was, I don't know what it was, 13, something like that. And I found out through my mom, had talked to him, that he built guitars. And he said, come on over, I'll show you some stuff. And on his wall, inside his home, he'd built a 5-neck guitar. Now, I doubt this is the one you've seen online, but man, it would be awesome if it was. But anyway, yeah, he had built a 5-neck, sort of a Strat style instrument. and it was super cool. And he had it, on display in his living room. It was clear that he was very proud of that. Pictures there, framed pictures of him holding it, and yeah, it was super cool. Let's see. Rick Ash, solo band. Say, hey, Jeff, what's up? What's going on, Rick? How we doing? Welcome, and good morning. Robert says, nothing fancy food-wise, just some black cherry jello and a dish called pineapple whip. Hey, it doesn't have to be fancy. I'm making macaroni and cheese to go with some of the dishes. We're doing a little bit of a different. We're not doing like the turkey or ham or anything like that this year. So a little bit more of a change of pace, which I kind of like. Scott says, gotta run errands before the stores close. Last minute stuff. Yeah, I did a little bit of that yesterday because I didn't want to do it today, but there's still a chance I may have to run out and do a couple things. But I was trying to get it done. So like yesterday evening, I went and did some last minute stuff, grabbed a few things that we needed. But yeah, I was trying to avoid going out today, if at all possible. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I still got some prep work to do later. And maybe there's something. It always seems to be something, right? That, oh, I forgot to get I don't know, pie filling or whatever it is. Yeah, so enjoy, Scott. There's something that I'm kind of torn for doing any last minute stuff, especially today, Christmas Eve, because I remember back in the day, of going out and doing some last minute Christmas shopping and the stores were packed. And there's a little bit of a nostalgic piece to me, I think, for that, because I remember that, being much younger, 16, 17, 18 years old and just going out and driving through the crowds and all that. So there's that nostalgia bit. But on the other hand, me now, I don't really like big crowds. So I don't enjoy going out. But yet I do because it's nostalgic. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? That's just how I feel. So I don't mind too much about going out today, especially if I have to. Of course, I try to avoid it, but hope that makes sense. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let's move along. Robert says, best of luck to Scott. Stay safe and healthy. Right on. Rick says, good morning. How you doing? Hope all is well. Rick, we're doing great. We're doing great. Knocking some last minute things out here in the shop, wrapping up some things for the year. And yeah, we're doing good. I hope you're doing the same. Cheers. Does anybody have any projects in the works? Kind of anything you guys are working on? I know it's kind of not a weird time of year, but there's a lot of times a lot of other things on our minds this time of year. So maybe not projects necessarily, but I know that's how I am even right now. Like I was just saying, working on filming the last video of the year, and in between holiday stuff, right? So yeah, just trying to get things in order. I got to get one thing I've been trying to do. Maybe we could talk about that. I know I don't often have topics, and I didn't start out with a topic, but is there do you guys make plans for the new year? Is there something that you want to try to work on for the new year, or maybe something you want to get done? I don't know. I don't often, I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but just, maybe there's something that you've been wanting to learn that maybe, 2026 is going to be the year that I do whatever it is. I don't know. It's something that is on my mind occasionally, especially this time of year, because we know that the new year's coming, right? One thing for me that I definitely want to do is something that, I've been talking about it here on the channel, but I definitely need to get to this new guitar model, that fan fret Dorian. I got to get to that. I want to build that thing so bad. So I need to carve out some time, and maybe over the next week or so, maybe that's what I do. I need to carve out some time to finish doing the model so that I can, start doing some test cuts. I'm going to use the CNC machine. That's what it's for. Some people don't enjoy that, but that's, and that's fine. But I need to draw up that model so that I can build this instrument. I really want to. I'm still really excited to build it. So that's definitely one thing that I want to do. I want to build another bass. So I guess I got a couple of guitar goals for the upcoming new year. But as far as outside of that, I'm not 100% sure. Project wise and stuff, it's just always, it depends on what comes up. It depends on the weather. It depends on if it's freezing cold or, a lot of that makes a difference. But yeah, I definitely need to get those guitars in the works, especially that fan fret one. Sim says, I was watching an American visiting the UK, and they visited a craft workshop. In the workshop, they made tiny wooden Christmas trees and used what resembles a hooked chisel to fluff the wood branches. A hooked chisel. Did it have like a scoop in there, or was it more of a gouge? Where it was a U-shaped kind of blade. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. That'd be cool. It's a little hand carved deal. Robert says the pineapple whip is great stuff. Has crushed pineapple, pecans, Cool Whip, and a small amount of custard type stuff made with the juice from the pineapple and egg and mixed all together. It does sound good. Yeah, it sounds like a pineapple custard kind of thing with whipped cream, so it makes it fluffy. Sort of a Jello salad kind of deal. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, that's cool. Yep, so I want to know from you guys, what projects, like I was just talking about, what do you want to try to tackle for next year? What is there something, man, I've always wanted to build the whatever. Always wanted to make a certain thing. So what is that certain thing? And let's put some steps in place for all of us, right? To be able to tackle some of those things that we've been wanting to do. Let's just think that would be cool. Another thing I want to do some more leather work. I feel like I didn't do enough leather work this year. I think we did a project or two, a couple projects, but overall I want to do some more. There's a few projects that I want to try to tackle, and yeah, I might try to bump those up on my list of priorities for this year. Robert says, I rarely plan anything these days since most of the time plans don't work out. I really would like to get my shop built. Yeah, I know what you mean, Robert. A lot of times, like you said, you try to plan something comes up, or something changes that plan for whatever reason, and it can be a little disheartening. I know what you mean. Or if not disheartening, it just can just throw a wrench in the works and make everything feel like it's not working out. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't. I like to plan roughly, right? But I definitely don't plan down to, kind of the day, right? Because you never know. I like to have an idea. Like I know I want to build this guitar, right? So I know that I need to spend some time doing some designing and then a few test cuts on the CNC, and then, before I actually start building. But I don't get as detailed as, okay, January 3rd, I need to have this design done because January 4th, I need to, I don't go that far into it because you don't ever know. Something else may come up that I might want to tackle first. And I try to keep my schedule flexible enough to be able to do that. Because you just, like you said, you never know. But I do like to fairly high level have an idea, like I need to get this guitar done. I want to build this really bad. So it's pretty high on the list. But if something else comes in, something pops up, I need to make something for the house or, something along those lines, I try to keep my schedule flexible enough to be able to do that. But that's just me. I know some people plan, day to day to day, week to week, exactly what's going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. But I do like to have that flexibility to be able to say, okay, I know I was trying to do this thing, but this other project popped up and I want to shift everything and tackle this other stuff. That's how I've done it for years, really. Especially when working on the acoustic guitar, right? The first one that I did a couple years ago, it took me, I don't know, 10, 11 months to get that done. A lot of that was spent working on the instrument, but I had to have that time in there, right? Because on a project that takes a long time, like a guitar, especially an acoustic, I want to have the time to be able to shift stuff around to do other things. I can't just say, nope, I'm not building anything until this acoustic is done. It'd be cool to be able to do that, but there's always stuff that pops up, and I like that. I just like that flexibility. Sam says the hook chisel was a regular one. Oh, on one side, and the blade elongated on the other side with a slight backwards hook to get under the wood to curl it over slightly, like hair with curled ends. Interesting. I might know what you're talking about. I think the hook chisel. So okay, so it was a standard chisel, but the handle was curved. I think that's what I'm understanding. There are some, if that's what you're talking about, there's some, maybe it's the same ones, or at least very similar, that you can use for carving braces on guitars. Actually, those are they're kind of something that I've been wanting to pick up. I think Two Cherries, or what is it? What is the brand? Two Cherries, Four Cherries, 27 Cherries. They make a curved chisel that helps get in there to the braces a little better. Sounds very similar anyway to what you're talking about, I think. Matt Conklin 8 says, "What's up, Matt? What's going on? How we doing? Welcome. How's everything going in your world?" Right on. Sam says handle and shank was straight. The tip was hooked on one side. Oh, okay. So it is different than what I envisioned. But yeah, sounds handy. It does. That's cool. Robert says, remember those beanie caps that have the built-in headlight and headphones? I got them a couple days ago. The headlight is really bright. Nice, Robert. That's cool. Yeah, so you can keep your head warm, see what you're working on. That's cool. Yep, it sounds kind of similar to, my daughter has it's not a full beanie, but it's more like have you seen those ear bands or I don't know what they're technically called, but it's not a full hat, but it's almost like those old school sweatbands. Remember those from way back? It's almost like that, but you pull it down and it covers your ears to keep them warm. She's got one that has a headlamp built into the center. She uses that quite a bit. It sounds kind of similar to that, except instead of just the ear warmer or whatever, it's a full beanie. That's pretty cool. Scott says they're called a headband. I wasn't sure if they're still called a headband. To me, when I think of headband, I think of, like the old school workout videos, and they've got like the neon green headband things. Sam says the craft workshop makes their own chisels and tools. They make bowls and other projects. Oh, I'll have to check that out. I didn't realize that they'd made it themselves. That's pretty cool. Robert says the light also takes up less than the type. Oh, that the light's on a strap. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I use like one of them, just a regular headlamp deal fairly often. But yeah, that's pretty neat. I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam, making your own chisels and tools. That is something else that I want to use, or that I want to do next year. I I want to do some more metalworking, like making like maybe chisel or knives or something like that. Um, I've got some old rasps that I want to turn into some sort of tools. I don't know if maybe they're hand plane irons, maybe they're little knives. I'm not sure, but I need to use them, put them to work. I always thought the knives made out of like horseshoe rasps are cool, and I've got a few horseshoe rasps. So I might try to do something. That's something else that's on my list. I don't know when we're going to get to it, but it's something that's on my list for 2026. Sam says it's in the UK. Yeah. Um, was it a YouTube video? That's what it sounds like. I gotta check it out. That's what I was talking about. Robert says the light and speakers are rechargeable with USB-C. That's cool. Yeah, so you can see what you're working on, listen to some tunes or a podcast, keep your head warm. That's pretty neat. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, so those are a few things that I want to try to tackle for next year. That's on my list at some point. Probably the guitar is towards the top. Actually, it's probably at the top. I really want to build that. I want to try some things. I've been I've been itching actually to maybe do some more with music. I haven't played in a band in a while. I need to get one started again. So, and this guitar kind of gives me some ideas that I might wanna try out. But let's see. So far this year, we are showing. Remember this year, this today. That's what I'm trying to say. Remember last week we had. I was starting to get dropped frames, and it was buffering. Started buffering really bad. I don't know what was going on. I have no solution for that, but I'm only showing a tiny bit of dropped frames right now. So hopefully no one is experiencing any sort of mishaps. Um, I don't. I've been talking about the fiber optic internet that they're installing. The fiber optic cable is actually run through the conduit that goes all the way up through. Um, they haven't started to branch it out to start connecting it to homes that I'm aware of yet, but I know that late last week, I know they came through and they actually pulled the actual fiber through there. Um, so I figure that's a step in the right direction. At least I know the line is there. So hopefully before long we can get connected and we won't have to worry about dropped frames and slow internet and all of that sort of stuff. So you guys keep your fingers crossed for me that they can get this internet upgraded. But that'll be cool. That's just a tiny update that I have on the whole entire thing. Every time I see someone out there, one of the worker vehicles or something, I go out and ask, just to try to get a tiny little bit of information. But that's all I have right now. I know that the fiber optic is run through the conduit. When they're going to come through and start branching it out, connecting it to homes, I don't know yet. And neither does anybody that I ask, because probably they're just the workers out there doing whatever step they're hired to do. Robert says, I did watch your video of the gauge build this past weekend. Yeah, thanks, Robert, for checking that out. It was a fun little project, actually, and quite satisfying because, as I mentioned in the video, that's one of those projects that I've wanted to do for a while and just can't justify the cost. So now I have one, and it's also been kind of fun to go through and start fine-tuning it to potentially sell the bases. So yeah, it's kind of fun working through some of those different processes there. Another thing I need to do, maybe while we have a little bit of downtime here over the next week or so, I need to spend a little more time cleaning up the shop. Stuff just accumulates. Yes, it happens to me too, even though I have a very small space. Stuff just accumulates, and I got to get it cleaned up. It gets hard to walk around sometimes, so you got to do some cleaning up. Especially with this weather is nice. Maybe I'll open the doors, get the air hose, and just blast all the dust. I like to do that in the spring and in the fall for sure. In the spring after winter. In the fall, I'm preparing for winter. Maybe in the middle of winter. I don't know. It just feels nice to get the fresh air in, blow all the dust out. Sam says, YouTube won't let me say the channel name. They're getting their panties in a twist each time. I don't know what's going on with that, Sam. I know what you're talking about, so I guess I'll just have to look it up. Sam's fighting with autocorrect. I hate autocorrect. It's a pain. Sam, how's things going in the UK? You guys, everybody over there doing good? Like your weather cooperating? Is it normal weather? Is it weird weather? I mentioned earlier that our weather here is definitely weird, at least in this part of the country. Super strange. I have never seen it this warm here this time of year. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't recall ever seeing it. Just this part of the country, it seems, though. It seems like my family back in the Northeast, they're getting snow. So that's awesome because I love a good white Christmas. And hopefully I hope that they get one. Hope everything's going good there. Sam says, Turn a Wood Bowl is the name. Okay, I'll check it out. I'm going to have to make note of that. Very cool. Oh, let's see here. What else, guys? Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about this time. That's sometimes the a downside of not having a topic every time. But Sam says it's 1 Celsius in the UK. Oh, what's that, like 34 or something like that? It's not bad. We're seriously in the 50s right now. What are we right now? Let's see. 56 degrees, it says right now. Supposed to have a high of 65. Yeah, it's crazy. Yep, it's pretty wild. Oh, Robert asks, have you ever heard of a device called the Maslow large format CNC router machine? Different type of machine that works with cable on a slope. Yes, 4x8 footprint. The footprint was getting me messed up somehow. Yes, I am familiar with that. And there was once upon a time when I considered buying one. When they first came out, I'm like, whoa, this is like a cool idea because it mounts upright, right? And I thought that would be kind of cool. Like I could probably squeeze that in here. It wouldn't take up, space. It's a kind of a cool space saving idea. I'm like, that's kind of neat. Um, yeah, it uses the cables and pulleys to move the thing around. Which now that I think about it, I'd have to double check, but I think one of the big things with 3D printers is Core XY, right? They're moving it around, and I think that is a very similar, if not exactly the same concept to move that CNC machine around. I'd have to double check, but I think it is. It's kind of a Core XY deal. I thought it was a super neat idea. Of course, there's been a lot of other things that have come out since then, and I ended up going a different direction. But yeah, those seem kind of cool. Great big thing, and it just mounts on a wall, basically. Sam says, see his UK visit blog. Okay, I'll check it out. Scott says the company actually makes a controller upgrade for your CNC. Yes, the Maslow, the Masso. Oh, are you thinking the Masso though, Scott? I think it's Masso. Or is it the same people? I don't know. I know Masso makes a controller that I could get for my machine. Um, maybe it is. Maybe it does come from the Maslow. Huh, I never thought about that. But yeah, the Maslow is the one that uses the mounts upright on a wall, uses cables to kind of float the thing around. Sort of I don't know, etch a sketch like. But yeah, maybe it is, Scott. Maybe it is. It's Masso makes the makes the controller, but I don't know if they're related. Maslow? Yeah, I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's Masso. I've thought about that, but man, the upgrade is expensive, and I don't feel I would get a whole lot more functionality out of there. I could be wrong on that. Right now, my machine does what I need it to do, and while I have considered upgrading it, I think it'd be cool. I don't know. I'm gonna wait till there's a function that I need that I don't currently have. But that's how I roll with everything. Oh, my camera from 2001 works fine, so I'm gonna keep using it until it doesn't. Mine's not that old, really, but my old one was. Robert says, currently in north central Oklahoma, 67 degrees. Scott says, yeah, it could be. Sam says, if you want to improve your Wi-Fi, look at Orbi 7. Scott says, I think because of the cost, your spindle upgrade is a better option than the controller upgrade. I agree with you. And like I said, that's kind of why I haven't upgraded yet. I'm not too worried. I wanted a spindle from day one, but they didn't have the entire kit ready. Well, they didn't have a kit at all. When I ordered my machine, the only way you could get a spindle was to piece one together, with different parts and stuff, like from Amazon and different retailers, to piece something together. And I wasn't a huge fan of that, although I know people do it and I know it works well. I've got a friend that did that and it works great. He loves his setup. I just wasn't ready to start doing that yet. I needed to learn the machine. But yeah, now since they've released that Redline kit, man, how much easier that was to try to get that going. So yeah, I agree. I think the spindle kit. I use the original controller for my machine, the Buildbotics. It's a way less advanced, I would say, than some of the newer ones, but I don't have any problem with it. I'm fairly familiar with how it works and how to run the thing. So like I said, until there's a function or a reason that I have to upgrade, I don't see me upgrading. I really don't. As cool as the new systems are, I'm not saying they're not worth it. Mine does what I need it to do. So as long as that's the case, I'm okay sticking with it. But like I said, that's just how I roll. I'm not always needing to upgrade just because there's an upgrade. I'm like that with everything. My main computer that I use for editing and all that stuff, my main desktop is Windows 10. The Windows 10's not in support anymore. I don't care. Until I have to upgrade, then I'll upgrade. My laptop here, this one's Windows 11, but it's a lot newer. Robert says, I got an ad for the Maslow CNC earlier this morning with a different video. The one I got the ad for is a new model. Number 4, supposed to be faster than earlier ones. Interesting. I still think it's a cool idea. It's a cool, what's the word? It's a neat way of operating. Sam says, Orbi 7 is a Wi-Fi mesh. Think of it as dropping 3 pebbles into a pond near each other rather than 1 pebble, like your modem. So I already have a mesh system, Sam. Yeah, I'm very familiar. I have 3 mesh nodes. Been thinking about adding a 4th. And yeah, so I have my internet comes in. It goes into my main router, and then I have 2 other nodes. So I do have a mesh system here. I'm fairly happy with it, really. I don't have any complaints. Feel like I've got really good coverage. The problem is not necessarily my Wi-Fi. The problem is my internet that comes into all that. I only have a tiny bit that comes in. Think of it like I'm filling a pond with a garden hose, right? Or swimming pool. I'm filling a swimming pool with a garden hose. The garden hose, the little tiny hose, is my internet coming in. And then I'm filling this giant swimming pool. So I have a tiny amount of internet coming into my home because I don't have access to anything faster. tiny little garden hose coming in, and then I'm sending it out into my mesh network, which is the swimming pool. My mesh network works great. I just don't have enough water coming in. So it takes forever. Yeah, so my mesh works well, I feel. I may add another node at some point, but yeah, I, I feel that most of my problems come from the fact that I have a tiny internet coming in. Yeah, so it's not my router or the modem. It's just how much is feeding in. That's why I'm so anxious to get this fiber optic connected. Whenever that happens, we're gonna be doing like a happy dance. I was looking at some of the plans. So I went on as soon as they came through and I signed up for the hey. It's basically saying connect me as soon as possible. Looking at their plans, you can get up to a 2 gig connection from these guys, and which is what? Uh 20,000, 2,000 megabits? I don't know. The internet plan that I have right now is it's about 20 megabits a second. That's literally all I can get. And most of the time it's less than that because I don't hardly ever get full speed. So I'll get 7 to 10 upload. So upload I don't feel is horrible, but I'll get anywhere from 10 to 20 megabits download. It's absolutely I mean it works barely. That's why we're still able to do what we can do here. But yeah, the speed is terrible. But it's the only thing we have. It's literally the only option. There is no wired anything available here. So that's why I'm so excited to be able to get. They have like a 500 gig, 500 megabit plan, a gig or a 2 gig, and even the 2 gig plan is less money than what I pay right now for 20 megabits. So it's a huge upgrade and even a savings, which is wild. Sam says, perhaps go full fiber optic internet. That is my plan, Sam. And I have to get it first. We don't have it available here. I mean, like I said, they just installed it into the ground literally last week. So now they need to come down through and connect it. Then they need to, whatever they do, connect it to that fiber optic and run it to the house. As soon as they do that, that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, so we will go full fiber. As soon as I can get full fiber, I will try to run as much fiber as I can, if that's even an option. Actually, I just need it connected to the house. Robert says, just saw a new video from Dan from Guns and Guitars. Had a new video showing a different CNC machine. I think it was a Fox model, but capable of cutting 2 full-size guitar bodies at the same time. He uses the Fox Alien CNC, I believe. And I forget the name of what it's called. I have seen him using some of those, so it's probably one of those models. Maybe they have a newer one. Yeah, I haven't seen much from Dan recently. Seems like several years ago they changed some of the rules and regulations, I guess, let's say, on YouTube, and he kind of feel like he definitely cut down on the amount of content he was creating. But yeah, I think that's what he used. Fox Alien, I feel is the name. But yeah, I could do 2 bodies on mine as well if I set them up correctly. It could totally be done. Sam says YouTube ads are occasionally closing the chat upon returning back to the chat. Interesting. Well, that's kind of annoying. Sam says the Orbi 7 plugs into the back of the modem rather than uses its Wi-Fi and produces its own Wi-Fi. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds exactly like my current system does. Um, Mine, I have the modem from the internet provider, which I don't know about you guys. Does it feel weird calling it a modem? To me, that when I say modem, it sounds like I'm talking about the old dial-up thing from 1997. The yeah, remember those? In fact, I had to use those until about 2006, 7. I was still on a modem because it's all I had available, dial-up internet. Robert says the main downside of regular internet connections is the drain on signal from upstream connections. Yeah, yep. And that's why that's why I'm excited about getting, something much faster. You've got a lot more space. And a 2 gig connection, which I probably will go with, there's no way I'm going to use all of that connection. So by having all of, like that extra headroom, I just feel like it's going to be so much better. Robert says, yeah, that's the newer one that he just got. Okay, yeah, the Fox Alien. Let's go out to check that out. I haven't seen the newer versions. I like Dan. Once upon a time, I got a hold of him about trying to do a some sort of collaboration, and I feel like that was right around the time when a lot of the regulations for the kind of content that he creates were implemented, and he kind of changed his approach, and we never really finished trying to work out any sort of collaboration. I was thinking maybe I could make him, like a body and a neck or something and send it to him and he could finish it or that sort of thing. We never really got that far in, but I did try to get something set up with him at one point. I am perfectly happy with my machine, my Onefinity, not sponsored or anything like that. But especially with this spindle upgrade. They were super helpful. I had a couple things I had to reach out to them for, and yeah, they were great to work with. I've never had an issue, and it's a good machine. I have zero complaints whatsoever. And with that Redline CNC upgrade kit that I put in a little while back, super cool, super cool. It's really nice to be able to control the speed from just your G code. Before I had mine configured so that when I would hit start, it would turn on the router and all of that stuff automatically as well. But since I was using the router, I still had to go in with the hand wheel on the router to set the speed. Part of the problem with that was that sometimes, depending on how you were cutting, there would be like a certain tiny bit of vibration that would shake the router just enough that the speed would slow down. So you could have it running along, and then all of a sudden you'd hear this router speed just ramp way down. And I don't ever want it to go super slow, which it's done to me a time or two. So I have to quickly go over there, speed it back up. And it's really nice to not have to worry about that. I used to have to keep tape on there and to keep it from moving. But yeah, I definitely like my Onefinity system. Sam says we say modem or router. That is pronounced like router. Oh, in the UK, not router in the way Americans say it. Router, the router. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that with the accent, or at least what we would consider an accent. Robert says, yeah, that was most likely when he was working out of his mobile home. He's now living in a regular home that he was able to build on some land. I remember that. I remember when he was showing the land that they had purchased, and they were talking about the plans, to create their little homestead there. So, yep, I remember that. And I think you're right, Robert. I think he was in the RV, or maybe it was just before. I can't remember actually. But yeah, that's why I was thinking, I was gonna, I don't know, I could maybe build him some parts and send it to him, and he could complete the guitar. And I was just trying to brainstorm some things. Yep, I like Dan. He seems like a cool dude. I got my foot stuck in the seat. Let's see what else, guys. What else is going on? As I glance around the shop, I, I just keep going back to I need to do some cleaning up in here. I've got the laser welder sitting right there. I got to spend some time with that too. There's some things that I want to do, and but I also need to get it on a cart. So I need to try to find a cheap cart, maybe Harbor Freight or something. Just buy a cheap cart, maybe modify it. Maybe that'd be a project. I thought about building a cart, which would be my first choice, but cost wise, I'm going to end up, it's going to be like $200, $300 welding cart by the time you go buy the steel and things. And I just don't think that, I don't think I don't need one that crazy. Maybe just buy a cheap one, get that set up on there. Cause right now I got to be careful when I walk past it. But yeah, other than that, we're just wrapping up for the year. I can't believe it. You guys, this is the last, no, wait, no, it's not. It is not the last one. We have one more on New Year's Eve. I was thinking this is the last one. Yeah, we're gonna have one next week too. New Year's Eve. Everybody wear your New Year's Eve party hats. And that means if Harry Dude is on, Harry Dude's not here. If Harry Dude is on next week, he's gonna be visiting us from a whole nother year. He's gonna be in the next year. Which means it's Christmas for him right now. Harry Dude, I don't know if you tune in later or not, but Merry Christmas. Sam says, I'm getting fed up with YouTube ads. In the future, I'll use PayPal to send you donations rather than the super chats. You get full payments and YouTube doesn't get its 30% cut. Well, that works too, Sam. I mean, I get it. The ads. I don't know. Sam says the YouTube ads are always targeting my super chat questions, so I don't hear you respond. Really? That is so. I need to wait to respond. All the ads. Speaking of that, I saw something interesting the other day. So do you guys remember way back when, right? Like the Napster and the what are some of the other ones? Like the music download place and the movie download place, like the places you could go and just download that stuff. So it was kind of interesting. This was talking about like online piracy and all that, and how back in the day it was a big deal. But then like Netflix came out and like some of these other streaming things, and people had access to all this stuff, so it cut down immensely on the whole downloading thing, right? But then there was so many of these online streaming services like we're at now that it's caused the downloading thing to ramp back up because people are fed up with the ads and all that stuff. Isn't that weird how like the services are the death of the services? it's I totally get it though, because of the ads, right? Like we get tired of the ads. I don't mind them on stuff like regular TV because we grew up with them, right? But so many people now are like so used to the streaming that they just, that's the ads are, and I get it, right? If I'm paying for a streaming service, there is, say, Netflix or any of them really, which I think I only have one. I don't know. I'm paying for it. I don't want to see ads, but now they're putting ads in there unless you go to like their premium thing. It's just a vicious cycle, and it's leading to. I agree with that video that I saw. The streaming services are leading to the death of the streaming services. I don't know. Dastardly Dave's here. Dave says, "Sup all. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Dave. How are you doing? Right on. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Christmas Eve. Right on, Dave. How's things going in your world? Did you guys get snow? I don't know if you got it where you are, but my family is in Northeast Pennsylvania, and they got some snow yesterday, I think it was, snowing. I don't know how much they ended up getting, but I don't know if it trickled over to you. I don't know if you want a white Christmas, but if you do, I hope you get one. I know I want a white Christmas, and we're not going to get one. Robert says, I also think that the streaming services are cutting into the movie theater market as well. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. So many of them like are doing their own releases for different things, right? Their own. There's a word. Like they're creating this series is for this streaming service, and this streaming service creates this series. And in order, if you like all these series, you have to be subscribed to all the dang services, and it's too expensive. The whole idea of the services was to get rid of like cable and stuff, but now if you have all of the services, you're paying like the same, if not more than cable, and you're getting nothing better because you still get the ads. Sam says, do you have a PayPal dedicated for YouTube donations? It's not dedicated solely for YouTube donations, but Homebuilt Workshop, I do have a PayPal for that. And if you just search up homebuiltshop@gmail.com on PayPal, you should find me. And yeah, that is the Homebuilt dedicated PayPal. Dave says, no snow here currently. Raining tomorrow. Oh, so okay, so you're a little farther out. So I don't know how much my family ended up getting, but I think they said it's supposed to be 40s tomorrow. So I don't know if all their snow's gonna melt or if they're still gonna have a white Christmas. Sam says, just because, perhaps make an electric banjo. Sam, you know what? I was just thinking about a banjo today, earlier this morning. I have a banjo, and I sort of can somewhat play a banjo. I don't know if I'd call myself a banjo player, but I do enjoy it. I love the sound of a banjo, and I thought about building one. You know, we'd make the rim and do all the things. I think it'd be a fun project, and I might just do that one of these days. So no, I think you're maybe kidding a little bit, but I'm serious. I like a banjo. Sam Pagan says, I made it. Just want to make sure I got here to wish you, Jeff, and everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Right on, Rick. Rick, Merry Christmas. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to do another one, New Year's Eve. We got one more this year. And at the moment, I have every single plan. We're going to be live again next Wednesday, New Year's Eve, so we can catch everybody before the new year. Rick says, I have a banjo that needs refurbishing. Yeah, I love a banjo. I have a left-handed banjo, 5-string. Yeah, it was one of those deals that popped up, and I'm like, I have not seen a lefty banjo. I got to go buy this one, and I did several years ago. It wasn't very expensive. It's like a Washburn or something. But yeah, it's super cool. Rick says, I'll be away visiting, so won't be there. No worries, Rick. No worries. Robert says, I've not been to a movie at a theater in a couple of years at least. Of course, they aren't making the type of movies that I care for a while. So yeah, same here. I'm not a big movie theater person. I think like all of the streaming services, they're like way overpriced, and I just don't get a whole lot out of that whole movie experience. My family enjoys movies, but I unfortunately, it's not my thing. I don't know. I wish I liked them more, but I just don't. I do like the popcorn though. Except it always seems to be lacking some salt. It's probably good. It's probably better for me that way, but I like some salty popcorn. Anyway. Well, guys, I think we are at the time. Probably at the time to wrap this up. Sam says an electronically sounding banjo. You may need to go through a sound processor for the right sound. Well, what about a solid body banjo? It wouldn't have the same sound. It would sound like a 5-string guitar, I would imagine. But it would be kind of neat. An electric banjo, but it's not really a banjo. It's just a solid body, round 5-string instrument. That might be fun though. Except it wouldn't have the banjo sound. Robert says there's a banjo museum in Oklahoma City, just east of the downtown area. Really? I did not know that. Wish I'd have known that years ago when we were in Oklahoma City. I might have to check that out. That would be cool. A banjo museum. Wow. Sam says, thank you for the fantastic stream today, Jeff. Sam, thank you for being part of this fantastic stream, because without all of you, it would just be me talking to nobody. So thank you all. And yeah, we're going to, as we wrap this up for today, I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. If you're free next New Year's Eve, we're going to tune in. We're going to be here. I'm going to do the live. And if you can't make it, no worries. I totally understand. And for those of you that I don't see next week, well, I'll see you all next year. Dad joke. Right on. You guys, thank you for tuning in today on this Christmas Eve edition. I should have worn a Santa hat. Darn, why didn't I have a Santa hat on? Oh, well. Sorry, I dropped the ball on that one. Sam says, I didn't hear you. I got ads. Merry Christmas, Sam. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. That's basically what I was saying. Sorry you got the ad. Yeah, but anyway, guys, yes, we're gonna be here next Wednesday, New Year's Eve. If you can, tune in. If you can't, I totally understand. I want to wish you all again happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that stuff. And we're gonna wrap that up, this Christmas Eve edition of Wednesday Live here at Homebuilt Workshop. I'm gonna tackle a couple things and try to finish filming my top 5 videos for this year. And guys, have a great Christmas tomorrow. I hope you guys get to spend some time with friends, family, loved ones, all of that sort of thing. Thank you all. So we will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later. Time to get back to work. So, right on, everyone. Hope you guys get some time. Get on your shops. Do some building. Have fun. All that sort of good things. Take care. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. We'll see you later. We're out. End. Later, everybody. Thanks.